Talking broadly about recent release sneakers, the use of earthy brown tones certainly hasn't been seen up until now in 2019 or 2020, particularly through Kanye and Travis Scott's affinity for such color usage. This latest Air Jordan 1 pickup of mine has absolutely no tie to Travis at all, but I think it's worth mentioning him because the pair does look like something he'd be wearing around or posting on Instagram about. And speaking of Instagram, be sure to follow me over there at StuffedOnLikes. I'm no Travis Scott, but I do post a bunch of sneaker pictures here and there. And while I'm asking for things, be sure to drop a like on the video and consider subscribing to the channel if you aren't already. I've been making sneaker content like this consistently now for the past few years, so doing both those things really goes a long way. So if you're not familiar with this pair of Air Jordan 1s, it's likely because there isn't a whole lot of information floating around on these. These are a GR, or general release sneaker from a decade ago in September of 2010, and had a retail price of $110 back then. Quickly chatting about the box, it's one of those older black boxes of the era. The official colorway on these is velvet brown, deep garnet, dark sage, and light chocolate. While no official name was tied behind these, many were dubbing these as the beef and broccolis back then. Getting straight into the actual shoes, they're definitely best suited for these upcoming fall and winter months, and it's mainly through the use of colors and materials. At the toe, mid-panels, and piece of the back heel are this textured suede in a brown color. The color is similar to the mocha color that we've seen recently from Jordan Brand, but this velvet to me looks a tad lighter. Complementing all of that is this darker brown in an oiled leather that starts at the toe cap, makes its way up the eyelets, and ends at the heel counter and heel flaps. While chatting about the heel, you could find a contrast red looking color that they're calling garnet, and it's at the embroidered wings logo. That same color can also be found at the suede Nike swoosh. Another additional contrast color is sage, which looks to be an odd green. The outsole, laces, and inner lining of the sneaker is done up in this green, which, to be honest, I'm not too crazy about. I will say though, it does remind me of that green hit found on the pair of biohacks that I recently picked up. Some other details worth noting is the use of brown leather at the tongue, and not the suede found elsewhere. Additionally is the tongue tag done up in this green and red combo. It's worth noting that this is how they did Jordan 1s up back then, unlike AJ1 Highs of today that utilize the Nike Air branding and logoing. As far as overall quality goes, I'd say these things are decent. The suede isn't the best suede I've ever felt, but it seems to have stood the test of time. The same can be said about the leathers on here. Not premium feeling to the touch, but they're much better than leathers I've seen on other Air Jordan 1s. These did yield only a $110 retail price back in 2010, while other Jordan retros at the time were going for well over $150. As for fit and sizing, I'd say these fit like Jordan 1s of today. I usually go with my true size of 9.5s in Jordan 1s, but I got these in a 10, and it's because this was the deal at hand. While these do have a tad more room than I'd like, I think they fit me just fine with some thicker socks. If I did go with my true 9.5, I think these would have been perfect though. I also think it's worth noting that these have a similar cut to the highs of today when it comes to height. The one thing I will say that is I find the tongues to be much higher on here than Jordan 1s of today. I don't have much of an opinion about it, as the look really depends on what sort of pants I'm wearing. I mentioned earlier that these are definitely a colder season shoe, so I plan on wearing them accordingly with dark colored pants and during these winter months. I really don't think these are best suited for the summer months like April and August here, at least in the United States. Going back in time a bit to 2010, it was really a time when nobody was wearing Air Jordan 1s. Let's be real here. As much as people claim to be massive Air Jordan 1 heads, the chances of them wearing this pair back in the day is very unlikely. At least from what I remember, people were mainly wearing Dunks, Foams, and other Jordan retros back in the early 2010s, never Air Jordan 1s. But for lifestyle colorways of 1s, nobody gave these things a second look back in the day, and in many instances even went on sale. And speaking of Dunks for a bit, these remind me a lot of the Cigar City Dunks, which came out around the same time. Those Cigar City Dunks were always something I considered to be one of my grails, and spoiler alert, I recently picked them up. More notably though, these definitely remind me of the Air Jordan 1 biohacks that I recently grabbed a few months ago in 2020, and it's likely through the small hit of brown and neon green on that pair. When it comes to sneakers, we're all familiar with the various reds, blues, whites, and off-whites, but never really browns. To me, brown shoes have always been popular in the menswear scene for more of that preppy, gentleman, dapper-like look. This Jordan sneaker is a great cross between that and actual lifestyle in my opinion. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, we never really saw brown in sneakers until the Kanyes and Travises of the world came on the scene and started to include these earthy tones on sneakers. All things considered, I think this pair of Air Jordan 1s was definitely ahead of its time. I think if this colorway came out in today's day and age, they'd be an instant sellout. I don't think Jordan Brand has any intent of digging these out of the archives and retroing them anytime soon, so for me, these are a nice and unique add to the collection. I know I won't see these around too commonly, which is refreshing as a lot of my pickups lately have been of recent Jordan releases. But that wraps it up for this video. Let me know what you guys think of this pair of the Air Jordan 1s in the comment section below. Is this a colorway you remember? Is this a pair you'd wear? Let's chat about it. I'd love it if you guys could show some love by dropping a like on the video, subscribing to the channel, and following me on Instagram. That's all for now though. Thanks for watching and I'll catch you guys in the next one.